got this piece of steel bent. Don't know if you can see that there. And what I've done is we've bent it past 90 degrees, just so when it comes to sliding up onto that piece of metal that's sticking down there, so there'll be a piece of metal goes in there. It's just easier to hammer and dolly that when it's already there than it is knocking it from there. There's more chance of damage in here. So that's why I've just gone a bit further. And it's also longer than it needs to be. So it's basically, once we get the old bit out of the way, that'll slide on up there. This is at the moment flat metal, but the door has a curve, so I will have to try and introduce a bit of a curve into that, gently if I can. It doesn't need a lot, but a little bit would be good. And then that'll slide up. We took the measurement before from here to there, so that'll tell us where this has to sit, so it's in the right place to get the gap with the sill nice. I want a good solid metal all the way along there. The only bit is this little piece here that just sticks out from where the panel is, but that's fine. I kind of had a mind to doing that slightly different anyway, because I wanted to keep the weld, rather than going up here and welding, or here, I want to keep it as low at the bottom of the door as possible. So as long as it's not good metal, we're good. So that's the panel, that'll go on there. We'll chop it here and that will wrap round, and then the same here. We'll decide whether we're going to, once this is out of the way, we can drop this in as a single skin on top and I'll weld the edge rather than trying to wrap it, because that would be quite difficult. But there's various ways you can do that, and as I say, I'll do this as a separate bit. So I can start chopping a bit of this off. I won't try and get it where it needs to be for now. It needs to be here. I'll just chop back a bit, just so we can keep try fitting it. Right, when the old metal's out of the way, this will slide up a lot further, so for now I'm going to just chop it there, and then I know that when we get all that out of the way, it's going to probably end up a good 5 mil or more above that, and then I'll have to chop it again. That's the bit you don't want. It's been welded before. You can see a piece of wire sticking through there, which is not unexpected. I've tried welding it, and when the rust comes through, just put a lot of filler in. What I have noticed is we have some rot in the flange that I was hoping was good. That bit doesn't look too bad. That'll probably clean up. It's quite solid. That's probably not so bad. The bottom of the door is sound. It's really good. Here somewhere, and put a little L shape on there. That's fine. And same here. A little bit in that corner. And then that new panel we were talking about. Yeah, see already that's came past my pencil line quite a lot. This is what we expected. So, all good. had a grind on it and I've got some holes. So you can never really tell. It sometimes looks okay and then start grinding, you get some more holes. It's a solid bit there, so we'll put a piece in the air and I'll take that little piece out of there. And that's it, it's not so bad. I've got that piece welded in there, that's what came out, and got a nice new bit in there now. So I'm going to do that. It would be easy to put one long strip on there, but you can very easily lose the shape of the door, so it's nice to keep the original reference points. So I'm just chopping out the bit the two bits that are rotten, because there's a bit on that end. It's just as easy to put little ones in, keep some of the original, so you keep the shape. Okay, so I've repaired the bottom of the flange here that takes the door skin. So I've chopped in there, put that corner on. I've chopped from about there somewhere right along to there, and then from there to there. And that's basically just, they were heavily pitted. There was some holes in these bits. There was a hole in that corner. So I've just chopped out the rot really. The rest of the bottom of the door is really good. So let's get rid of that. A little bit of primer on there just because the panel's going to sit on top. And we're ready to start looking at fitting this outside panel now. So I think I'm about ready to fit this panel. I've got it fitting up, the gap's good, I've got a curve there. I've left this long. I'm going to try and hammer and dolly that curve because I can't just fold it because it's on a curve. So I've put a couple of relief cuts and I'll just try and dolly that round once it's tacked on. I've taken the inner, it's overlapped at the moment, but I've taken the inner bit off there and the inner bit off there, so the new panel drops down to the correct place. So this is flush here. It's still overlapping right along the middle, and I'm going to cut that once I've tacked it. And that strip of metal that's in there will just drop off, and then we can align it properly. That's the plan. Might work, might not. So I'll just tack these corners to start with. Two ends are where they should be. This is overlapping. I'm going to put the cutting disc down the middle of there, but work my way along slowly so that the tacks are holding it, and just tack it again. But it's all about getting the two panels close. It's going to need filler work anyway, but the closer I get them the better. So I'm just going to make a start on this end, put a few more tacks in as I cut. Okay, so there should be a loose strip of metal inside there. I'll just cut off. There we go. So that was the overlap. And instead of cutting it all and trying to just butt it together, having it flopping about, if you do it that way, you're going to do a little bit of time, and then that just drops off afterwards. So the panel's butt welded, no overlap, and it's not perfect, but it's the best way of doing it to try and get it, you know, the right shape. Alright, I've just tried the door back on. I haven't finished folding the flange over properly, but I just wanted to be sure that we're getting somewhere where it should be. So our gap at the bottom is good, and it's just loosely satin, so it will actually lift up a little bit because it's slightly out there as well. So it's generally in the right place. So I can continue knocking that over. And I'll get the rest of the welding done now that I know it fits. So I'm just slowly tacking along here, doing a little bit at a time. You probably noticed there was a hole here, but I didn't want to make this plate a lot bigger. So I'm sort of always thinking I'll treat that plate as a separate patch. So I'm just going to drop a little bit of a patch in there, let it go in flush, because the rest of it's okay. It was just that one little extra bit, so it seemed a shame to go move further up the door with a bigger patch all the way along when I don't need to. So I'm just going to make a little one for there and drop it in. Okay, so I've got all the welding done there, and I've ground the weld back. The shape's not bad, not too bad at all, hasn't walked too much, a few little high and low spots. This is going to get some body filler anyway, so I'm going to strip more of this paint off, and it'll get body filled to keep the shape and tidy the edges up. But all the welding's done, all the rot's taken out, so it's now nice and solid. I'll probably put a bit of body filler on it and then probably a little bit of edge primer, and that will do it for now. So that can go back on the car for now. I'll have to come back off at some point and get all the insides painted, but that's enough for now because there's plenty more welding to do, so door's pretty much done. I'm going to look at the sill next. There's a hole at the bottom of the sill that we discovered when I was welding the floor, so I'll probably have to drop a chunk out of the sill. Just going to do that once we get moved on from this. So I hope you're enjoying the videos. Most of you will know how to do all this, and forgive me if I'm going over stuff you know how to do. This is how I do it. It's not necessarily correct, or it might not be the best way. It's just how I do it. So if you pick something off the videos, great. If not, just ignore it. If you enjoy them, give us a like. Apparently there's a new hype button. Don't know what it does. Nobody's hyped me yet, so press that button as well, see what happens. And don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.